anything overnight. Well, YouTube, I think you guys are finally here and able to see us. It's weird. We're doing something through Zoom. Just y'all know something. We'd be figuring stuff out. So, but Jay, you were absolutely right. And your commentary about the fact that we are buying all of these very necessary items. We're buying medicines. We're buying all of these things from other countries, and we don't make them here. That's a very dangerous position to put ourselves in. According to today's Financial Times, which you all can see here on the screen if you're watching, McDonald's, one of the front page stories, McDonald's sales plunge as tariff-wary Americans flip to home-cooked burgers. According to the report, McDonald's has reported its biggest drop in U.S. sales since the height of the pandemic 5 years ago, as uncertainty caused by Donald Trump's tariffs weighs heavily on consumers. So listen, when people can't afford McDonald's, okay, now a couple of weeks ago on the Lurie Breaks It Down podcast, the next episode of which will be dropping later today, it's going to be a continuation of my conversation with Dante King, looking at the 400-year Holocaust and the psychopathy and sociopathic nature of white Christian nationalism and white supremacist ideology. But a few weeks ago, I talked about the fact that people are now able to purchase their food, their delivery food, using layaway, Klarna, buy now, pay later, and the BNPL, buy now, pay later framework is ramping up, and it's beginning to be referenced even more when we're looking at the credit sustainability of Americans generally, of our personal economy. Jay, as you mentioned, we are buying medicines from other countries, and Donald Trump has said he wants to implement tariffs as against pharmaceuticals. But here's what's important today, because in the Rolling Stone, in the people them Rolling Stone, they had a conversation about how the Trump officials, the insiders in the Trump campaign, in the Trump administration, how they are preparing for the tariffs. So I'm going to get to that in just a minute. According to the report, there were some store sales in the home markets for McDonald's fell 3.6% year on year in the first quarter, which ended in March, driven mainly by lower customer numbers. When McDonald's don't have customers, it's the problem. When Dollar Store and Walmart is talking about we don't have enough stuff to fill up our shelves, it's a problem. According to the report, the fall in sales came as consumer sentiment tumbled after tariffs shook the markets and prompted worries among Americans about their job prospects. I told y'all yesterday, there's over 120 corporations that have issued WARN notices. Those are the notices that go out to the government and to employees that basically say, listen, shit is kind of bad right now. We're going to be laying people off. We don't know quite who we're going to lay off, but a whole lot of y'all is going to get laid off. Over 100 corporations, over 120 corporations have indicated to the federal government they are going to be engaging in mass layoffs. McDonald's is saying our numbers are already dropping. People are already shifting their shopping patterns because of concern. Now, some of you were saying, well, Lurie, I'm not really sure it's going to be quite that bad. I was in a conversation with some of my beloved sister friends, and I was saying, listen, y'all better stock up. And now, but truthfully, I'm going to say, let me pause here for a minute. I am one of those type of people, always have been. Y2K, you can ask my husband, Y2K, 9/11. I'm one of them stock up kind of people. I'm a Cancer, so I need to make sure the home front is secure. Okay, I need to make sure the home front is secure. So I have definitely, as a Cancer, been one of them people who, like when Hurricane Sandy came through Brooklyn, technically Staten Island and parts of Brooklyn, we really didn't get hit in Bedford-Stuyvesant as much, but like we had water. We were the family that had the X tape on the windows because we thought that if the window shattered, I had seen somewhere where they said if the window shattered and you put the tape on your window, the shattering won't be so bad. I am a little extra. So take me with a grain of salt, which is why I tell people, I don't need you to agree with me. I need you to hear what's being said and then go research and then go prove me wrong. Just prove me wrong. That's all I'm saying. So I'm always going to have some water in the house. That's just how I roll. I heard somebody say on Urban View the other day, instead of buying all this toilet paper, we need to get bidets. I got bidets. I just got them because I was like, you know what? There could be a run on toilet paper. I'm not doing this with these people the way they did COVID. I'm not trying. So we got some bidet. Now, frankly, I feel like everybody should have a bidet. It's much more hygienic. Argue with your mom, or don't argue with your mom. Argue with your plumber. But here's the reason why this is important, because even though I am one of those people who, when I see danger coming, and I be looking for it, and you know, if you're looking for something, you will generally find it. I feel like that was a quote directly out of some Disney movie. But when you're, Sebastian in Little Mermaid, that's who said it. When you're looking for trouble, you will generally find it. Rolling Stone has an article out today called "Spooked by Trade Wars, Trump Officials Hoard Supplies, quote, it would be stupid not to." All I'm saying is I done told y'all this 11 times. I done said y'all need to go to Costco. You need to, or whatever you can go to purchase in bulk. Think about if you don't have the capacity to purchase in bulk for yourself because of your personal financial situation, think about who on your block, who in your family, who are you connected to that you could go in and purchase things with, because you are going to have to prepare for what is likely coming. Now, if I were the only one saying this is likely coming, fine, ignore everything I have to say whatsoever. How the reality is, though, there's a lot of folks in the logistics industry, a lot of folks in the shipping industry, a lot of people who live and work and whose livelihood depends on the nature of the ports, bringing items in, taking items away, trade. Everybody in those spaces is concerned, and so are the Trump officials. According to the report, Donald Trump's trade wars are essentially creating a reality where even within the Trump administration, people are very concerned about their ability to try to navigate this system and to navigate what is coming. Rolling Stone is talking to people in the Trump administration who are like, hey, you would be kind of foolish to not prepare for this. Like, that's all we saying. Like, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't make a lot of sense. According to the report, Donald Trump's trade wars with China and other nations are widely expected to cause sharp economic pain. But some experts have warned consumers not to hoard supplies and goods before prices skyrocket, arguing that mass stockpiling could backfire spectacularly. And what I've said is, listen, if you buy a whole bunch of stuff that you already use, that you already need, and then the shelves magically are able to restock themselves and everything that we're concerned about doesn't happen, cool. That just means you got stuff in your basement or in your attic or in your closet or in your wherever you got under your bed. However, not only are a lot of Americans not listening to that advice, according to the report, but neither are the people in the Trump administration. According to the report, Americans are not listening to this advice. They are preparing for the possibility of store shelves being bare. So if y'all not preparing, just know other people are. And by the time you try to prepare, you may not be able to if you have not done so effectively up until this point. The article continues, funnily enough, this includes a number of government officials and staffers working directly for the man who launched these massive new trade wars, all on the grounds of bad tariff math. Because what we know is that when you are a WEI president, meaning your only qualifications were that you are white, you are entitled, and you are incompetent. When you staff your administration with WEI candidates, which means that they are all white, entitled, and incompetent as a bare minimum and also as a maximum, because that's all that's required, then even we're clear that you don't do math so well. And when you are putting 145% tariffs on any item, not only is it double, it's more than double, and people can't afford that. And when you add to that the fact that because of the tariffs, corporations are saying what we're not going to do is bring in these items because we know we won't be able to resell these items and make a profit, let alone break even, that's when products stop coming in. According to the reports, 2 Trump administration officials and a Trump aide told Rolling Stone that they have done stockpiling of their own in recent weeks and months, and that they know others who are working in Republican politics inside and outside of the administration who are doing the same. Spitting in your face, peeing in your face, and telling you it's rain. One of the Trump officials says, quote, they have already run to Target, which we are not doing. Argue with your leadership. We're not doing that. One of the Trump officials said they've already run to Target to bulk buy toilet paper, some types of food, and other household supplies. I'm not going to Target, but I am stocking up. When they were asked why they were doing this, the Trump aide, who says they and their partner have done similar household supply hoarding lately, and they're stashing cash. They are stashing cash in their house because even though all of us have our money in banks and the FDIC insures our accounts up to and not exceeding $250,000 in your checking account and your savings account, and not $250,000 in $1, that $1 ain't going to get protection. You got protection from $0 to $250,000. Argue with your banking insurers. Argue with your banking folk. That's what you got. Those of us who have our money in these accounts, technically, yes, the FDIC is going to insure those funds, and you will, if the bank ran out of money, you would eventually get your money back. But from this government, I'm sorry. Do we even have an FDIC agency anymore? Is there anybody even working there anymore? Or did they do to them what they did to every single other agency after Doge got through running up inside, outside, and knocking them agencies to the ground? So yeah, your money is technically protected, but how long will it take you to get it? Like that woman who we talked about in the podcast episode, and I mentioned briefly yesterday, the FBI, Homeland Security, and all these other agencies bust up in her house with a warrant, harass her daughters. They standing outside damn near naked in the rain for hours. And yeah, eventually they going to get their stuff back. And because those FBI, Homeland Security, and them other agents, what did they take? Everything. Took all their stuff, took all their cash. Eventually you're going to get your money back. Maybe when. And so Trump officials are hoarding not just goods, not just stockpiling goods, cash. Because what happens when you go to the bank, and yeah, technically your money is there on a balance sheet, but there's no physical cash to give to you. Now, I am not saying that you should approach this with any measure of grave fear and trepidation. This is not about causing panic. It's about being wise. We are wise as serpents and harmless as doves, and we move like ants. And what have we talked about when it comes to ants? We had Keyshawn Lane on the other day, Weekly Home Check, talking about how intelligent ants are and how they can get up in our houses very easily. Ants move as a unit. They move as a unit and they prepare. How many Aesop's and Anansi fables do we have to tell each other, and folklore stories do we have to learn as little children to know that when the winter is coming, you have to prepare? So these people who are in this administration, are stocking up on their household goods. They're stocking up on foods. They're stocking up on the medicines they're going to need. And they're stocking up on cash, which should not be held just underneath your mattress. It should actually be held in a fireproof sort of something. Because if your house gets set on fire, you can grab that situation and you can make your way on out. Don't ask me how I know. Just do it. They say the trend is symptomatic of a larger panic taking place within the Trump-dominated Republican elite. We're talking the bourgeoisie, the elites. A significant share of the GOP luminaries on Capitol Hill, members of the Republican donor class, and top-ranking officials in the Trump administration are privately and sometimes publicly. These are direct quotes. I am not paraphrasing. I'm reading to you from the article. They are extremely fearful that Trump's trade warfare is going to throttle the U.S. economy and further drive down his and the party's approval ratings. So they're very scared they're going to lose elections. But the reality is they are preparing for what is unfolding in front of all of our eyes. Get your stuff together. Yes, stop shopping and going to McDonald's. The food is better for you if you're making it at home anyway. And yes, I know I too participate in the fast food community, although I have not eaten McDonald's in years, possibly decades. But still, get ready and think about practically what you could use and what you could need. Beans ain't gonna go bad. You get you some dried beans, canned if you got to, but dried beans, rice, flour, sugar, basics. I'm not talking stock up on steaks and yada, yada, although you could. Basics is what we're talking about. We're talking about basics because we want people to be able to think about what can I hold for the long term. And these are some of the things that folks are having to navigate. So it's important that we're mindful. It's important that we're aware. And it's important that we're crystal clear that we have the capacity to be wise in this moment, not fearful. This is not about fear. Let's be wise. Let's take another call. We've got Marie in Texas. Let me check on my YouTube, folks, see how y'all doing. Marie in Texas, what would you like to say this morning?
Hey, Marie. Lurie, I'm
Hey.
sorry. Good morning. You know what? I don't care what anybody says. I am taking you guys' advice. I have stocked up on canned goods. I've stocked up on rice and beans because when the pandemic happened, like a good parent, I was in Boston trying to bring my daughter back to Texas. When I got back from getting my baby, there was nothing on the shelves.
Wow.
I would never, ever go through that again.
Wow.
Literally nothing on the shelves for days. So I'm not doing this because these Trump folks, they're all evil. They're going straight to hell because they know what this crazy man is doing is not right, but they're being prepared. My daughter said, "Mommy, why are you getting all these cans of beans?" Let me tell you something. I know how to live off of beans and rice, okay?
Yes, that's
so
right.
People can do what they want, but I am heeding the warning from you guys. I'm just going to be prepared because this happened to me once before when the pandemic happened. It is not fun when you go into a store and there's nothing on the shelf.
That's right.
That's not happening to me again.
That's right.
I love you guys, Lurie.
Love
I love
you
the
back.
whole Urban View show, but I am so sick and tired of every day. I feel like I am living in the Twilight Zone. Every single day. What is it going to take for people to realize that we have been FUCK'd?
Yes.
Okay?
and it was unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary. Complete, but here we are. I just had to block a troll in the YouTube chat. Thank you all for keeping me alert. I appreciate you. Shout out to TMFJ. They was like, block it. Appreciate all of y'all. Yes, we got it. We blocked it. And Maria's right. This isn't about fear. But I told y'all the story of how I was in the blackout during that we had here in New York City while I was still in law school, walking walking from West 4th Street up to 42nd Street, and then had to walk back down to West 4th Street to the law school because I got to 42nd Street and realized I could not make it to 156th Street, and there really was no electricity the entire city wide. I have been in situations where I don't like not having what I need. And I want to also address, some of you had mentioned when I said it yesterday or a couple of days ago, also think about the medicines that you need. And if you can purchase additional or talk to your doctor to get an extended prescription, maybe up to a 90-day prescription if you can, so that you can have coverage so that you get the medicines that you need. And some of you said, well, if my insurance doesn't cover it, what do I do? This is the difficulty of living in a society where, as our first caller at this hour mentioned, we are buying medicines from people, one, who we don't have good relationships with, but we in particular as Americans living in a society where medicine, where our healthcare is privatized. You may have to figure out for the loved ones in your family who you know are financially in real distress, but who also have a lot of physical needs. You may want to think about putting together a family fund so that there's a medical fund for the elders. There's a medical fund for those in our communities who are disabled, and whether it's your community writ large, your family, your inner familial units. I remember during the pandemic, we had a pod of like some families that we would gather with, the family fun group, we called it, and we would meet outside and go play so we wouldn't kill each other in the house because it was only us. So these are things we have to think about, but we want to think about them with the sense of internal peace, right? Because we are preparing. We're not doing anything out of fear. We want to make a list. Don't just go in a store and grab this, grab that, grab the other thing. Be mindful. Okay, be very demure, be mindful about what you can actually use, about what you can actually store, where you're going to store it, and how you're going to keep yourself as prepared. And again, if Donald Trump, because what happened, what was it? Oh, you're right. Now that he done got rid of Mike Waltz after all this MAGA stuff, he's shuffling people around. He's making a whole lot of changes. He's also acknowledging in more and more interviews that this is not working out. And so as they figure things out, maybe they'll figure it out. It might just only be a couple of weeks behind in terms of allowing ships to restock and replenish the stores, in which case it's a short-term pain. But if it's a large-term pain, if it's a long-term pain, let's be clear. I saw in the Nubia chat, somebody said that their church had sent out an email that said, start stocking up. And I'm so glad to hear that, because we can do this with diligence. And let's be clear, we know what it is to go without. Okay, we have an entire culture centered around making the dollar out of what? 15 cents. So we're going to be okay so long as we are aware, so long as we are preparing and thinking critically about how we can be of use to ourselves, how we can be of use to our community. Mutual aid is going to matter. And I'm not really, that's not my favorite phrase. Us helping each other is what we mean when we say mutual aid. If we're seeing that there's child care situations where people no longer have access to child care because Head Start's funding has already been cut, what would it take, as Monifa Bandele from Moms Rising asked us the other week, what would it take for us to create a child care cooperative? I don't like watching a whole lot of kids. I probably wouldn't be good with the third graders or the fourth graders, but you give me them babies and you give me them middle school kids, I got you, right? I got you. Them third and fourth graders, it's a special age. That's not my magic age. But like them babies and then the middle school and high school kids, I could work a couple of hours in the co-op. And we're going to have to start thinking about things that way, because as these people, this beast of white Christian nationalism revitalizes itself and attempts to take everything from us, let us be clear. What we have, we give to ourselves if it is truly ours. And as that question I've been asking for the past several years, think about every single resource that our community relies upon that we do not provide for ourselves. And then think about what will happen once they do get rid of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, because that is coming. What will happen once the people who provide us those resources no longer have to do so? That's how we have to prepare. That's how we have to think. But let's think about it from our seat of cultural authority. Okay? Let's think about it as the people who created civilization. Let's think about it as the people who, without whom there is no math, there is no science, there is no architecture. Let's think about it from the perspective that not only do we have our enslaved ancestors and our colonized ancestors experience to draw on who are a part of this immediate era, but we got millennia upon millennia upon millennia of other ancestors who were ship makers, who were agricultural geniuses and experts, who were stolen from the continent of Africa because of their artisanal capacity to build and to construct and to use these hands. I feel like Big Mama in Soul Food. This hand can make a mighty fist. Who can use these hands to do for ourselves. We are the originators of humanity. We are the originators of intellectual thought, of oral tradition and written tradition. We are the originators of counting our blessings and counting the realities that we live in. We got this. We got this. And now that we're in an era where we are tapping into our spiritual power, and that can be whatever you mean it to be, but we are in an era where we can grow, where we can return to the greatness that we were and incorporate it into the phenomenal nature of what we will be. Baby, they gonna break the system. Let them break it. We got us. And so long as we remember that, we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. We got to get ready to go to commercial break. But I did want to let you all know, Clay and Reese are doing some things, and it's really something amazing, because DC, if you are in the DC area, you need to be there. You need to be ready. They've got a chance for you to attend an exclusive town hall with Representative Jasmine Crockett. Love that sister. She's been on this show several times. Really appreciate her. Representative Jasmine Crockett of Texas and DNC Vice Chair Malcolm Kenyatta of Pennsylvania are going to be presented by, it's a town hall presented by Urban View in the Washington, D.C. studios. A very special event hosted by our own Clay Kane and Reese Colbert. So if you will be in DC on May 8th, you can visit Urban View's social media pages before 12 p.m. Eastern on May 7th for your chance to attend. You don't have to buy anything to win. No purchase necessary to enter or win, but you do have to be a resident of the continental United States, and you do have to be at least 18 years old. And if you will recall, we just had David Hogue on a few minutes ago. He is one of the 3 vice chairs of the DNC. Malcolm Kenyatta is another one. I love that brother. He's doing some amazing things. Amina, let's get him back on the show as well. Looking forward to seeing him back on these airways. We got to go to commercial break. Much more to come on the Lurie Daniel Favors Show. We'll be right back after this.